Denver Broncos were nearly in a blockbuster three-way trade involving Brandon Aiyuk and Courtland Sutton. So on today's episode, I want to break down what we learned following Ayuk's contract extension with the 49ers and talk about whether or not the Broncos made a good or bad decision. Like, did they make a good deal or not? Shout out to Howie Mandel. But Dianna Russini reported shortly after the Aiyuk 4-year, $120 million extension that the 49ers were only willing to trade Brandon Aiyuk if they could get a top-flight wide receiver to replace him. They offered a third-round pick to Denver for Courtland Sutton and then would have dealt Aiyuk to the Steelers, but the Broncos declined the offer. So this was the rumored trade on the books. Broncos get a third-round draft pick that originally belonged to the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is important to note because wherever the Steelers end in the standings, that's where Denver would have been picking in round number 3. The Pittsburgh Steelers get Brandon Aiyuk, and the 49ers get a second-round draft pick from Pittsburgh and Courtland Sutton from the Broncos. So, after seeing this and thinking about it, I'm glad the Broncos kept Courtland Sutton. Now, you can make a good argument that getting Courtland Sutton for a third-round pick right now wouldn't be the worst thing in the world just because of the age and maybe a regression coming his way with the style of play and him not being a dominant, speedy receiver. Like, I don't think anyone's wrong for saying Sutton for a third isn't a bad value for Denver, but what you're not taking into account is Bo Nix. And when you look at the Broncos wide receiver room, if you moved on from Courtland Sutton, I mean, Josh Reynolds, Marvin Mims, Devon Vele, Troy Franklin, those are your top 4 receivers, 2 of which are day 3 rookies. One is a second-round pick last year that, until Tim Patrick was released, fell all the way to wide receiver 4 on this depth chart. I mean, look at the single-season best for the top 3 receivers for Denver. I would say Sutton would have come in 2019, 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. Reynolds, I would argue, would be last year, 608 yards and 5 touchdowns for the Lions. And then Mims has to be his rookie season, 377 yards and 1 touchdown. This year is not about trying to go win playoff games. I'm sorry. If that happens, it's a little bit of an added bonus. This year is about getting Bo Nix in a spot where you can have a successful franchise quarterback for the future. This year is about learning what you have in Bo Nix and then building a roster that complements his strengths, but not feeding him to the wolves and going, well, we don't really know what we have in our rookie quarterback because he had no one to throw to last year, and we now turn to the offseason going, should we continue to invest in Bo Nix? Is he the right call? Like, the Bears are a little bit of an example of this, right? They had Justin Fields, and they kind of knew what they had in Justin Fields, but early on, they're like, well, he has no good offensive line. He doesn't have many receivers to throw to. They got the first overall pick. They ended up trading it away, helped him get DJ Moore, and they ended up with Caleb Williams. But what if Caleb Williams was, and I know we're going down a rabbit hole here, in the prior year's draft, and the Bears traded that first overall pick away because they still didn't know what they had in Justin Fields but didn't want to give up on him. The Broncos this year cannot be in a spot where they don't know what they have in Bo Nix because they never surrounded him with enough talent to come away with a strong conclusion as to what number 10 is for them. So, more on this in just a moment. But I wanted to share with you guys the Week 1 like battle we have going with our Seahawks channel here at Chat Sports. We've got a little over 4,000 likes. After an early lead from the Broncos channel here, they have been kicking our ass. 5,800 likes. So hit that thumbs up button down below and help us squash Seahawks today in likes. Now, fun fact. I did the math, hand calculated by myself. Since 2010, only 2 first-round picked rookie quarterbacks have not had a receiver with more than 700 yards in a single season of their career. In layman's terms, there have been 2 quarterbacks selected in round 1 who walked into a locker room that did not have any sort of proven veteran receiver established. Those 2 rookie quarterbacks are Dwayne Haskins and Blaine Gabbert. Safe to say we both know that neither quarterback succeeded all that well on the NFL field. I do not want the Broncos to be the 3rd team to have a rookie quarterback with no receiver with over 700 yards in their rookie season, or in any season, but for the quarterback's rookie season. A third-round pick is not worth making Josh Reynolds your wide receiver one. And that's what would have happened if they had made that deal. And Bo Nix would have gone out there for 17 games this season, throwing to Reynolds, Marvin Mims, and a couple of rookies, and probably a practice squad elevation or two. That is not what's going to be good for the Broncos long term. Yes, a third-round pick is cool, it's juicy and sexy, but for me, what's better than a third-round pick is a franchise quarterback. And I want Bo Nix to be surrounded by as much talent as possible, and trading away his wide receiver one is not going to help that. Now, before we get to the rest of today's video, I do want to tell everyone watching about Factor. Meet your wellness goals in time for the football season thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great-tasting meals. Crush your wellness goals this month with dietitian-approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. Keep kitchen time to a minimum. Factor meals are ready in just 2 minutes. No shopping, prepping, cooking, or cleaning up. Head to factormeals.com/BroncosChat50 and use code BroncosChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code BroncosChat50 at factormeals.com/BroncosChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Now, for anyone in the camp of, trade Courtland Sutton for a third, who cares? Well, let's just take a stroll down memory lane of recent third-round draft picks by the Broncos. We can't grade Jonah, Elliss, or Drew Sanders or Riley Moss. It's too soon. Greg Dulcich, unfortunately, has been injury-prone. Quinn Meinerz was an awesome pick, no denying it. Michael Ojemudia, a flop. Lloyd Cushenberry, I feel like he's one of the most overpaid players in the NFL right now, and that's not going to be one that we look back on and go, man, what a great pick that was. McTelvin a flop. You've got some hits here. Quinn Meinerz. I want to say Dulcich, but again, we got to wait and see if he's healthy. Cush was a starting caliber player for you for 4 years. But you've also got some misses. So, by no stretch is a third-round pick going to be a guarantee. And I often think that one of the traps that fans sometimes fall into is looking at early draft picks when talking about trades and just assuming it's going to be a bona fide day one starter, perennial Pro Bowl caliber guy. Sometimes you can get that with a Quinn Meinerz, but you also get your Michael Ojemudias and McTelvin mixed in as well. So just because a third was going to be available, don't jump to the conclusion that that third-round pick would have been a day one starter like Meinerz was. Now, play the numbers, and chances are they wouldn't be. So going back to the original question, though, would you have traded Courtland Sutton for a third-round draft pick? Give me a yes or no in the comment section. I'm passing. A third's not going to be a guarantee of a great player anyway, and I don't want to jeopardize anything that could stall or dampen Bo Nix's development his rookie season. He is priority number one for this franchise. Keep the wide receiver one on this team for your rookie QB. Now, a fun segment to end the video, or topic, I should say. Should the Broncos tank for Travis Hunter? I'm kidding. But also, I think a lot of people watching the Colorado game last night were thinking to themselves, man, if somehow Denver ended up with a top 5 pick and got Travis Hunter, maybe that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. He's going to be the next Shohei Ohtani of the NFL. Last night against NDSU, 7 grabs, 132 yards, 3 touchdowns, and on defense, he had 3 tackles. That comes off a first year in Boulder where he had 57 grabs for 721 yards, 5 touchdowns, and then on the other half of the football, 5 pass breakups and 3 interceptions. So just to talk buffs for a moment here, Travis Hunter is looking to be one of those great Heisman. I know it's way too early, but just hear me out. Heisman stories, but maybe the wins will hold him back at Colorado if they don't start stacking more wins. I ultimately think Hunter should stay at corner when he gets to the next level, but I also wouldn't be shocked if he looks at what Brandon Aiyuk just got, what CeeDee Lamb just got, and realize that's $10 to $15 million more than what the highest paid corner is making. The wide receiver money might be too tempting to pass on. Now, maybe a certain team or two will be willing to have him play on both sides of the football. I'm going to be a doubter right now. I don't think he can play on both sides of the football at a high level. Like, I just think it's too difficult from a stamina and energy standpoint, and then from a mental standpoint of you spend so much time every single week as a receiver watching film and preparing for the opponent's defense to devote the same amount of time to a DB preparing for the opponent's wide receivers. I just don't think there's enough hours in the day to execute that at the National Football League level. So I think he'll probably play one side of the football. Maybe in special situations they put him out there on offense on a key third or fourth down or something as a fourth option. But he's exciting. He's going to be must-see TV all season long. So if the Broncos end up with Travis Hunter, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but they'd probably have to finish bottom 5, and that wouldn't be a very good thing. So, Tank? Kidding? Not kidding? Kidding? I don't know. You decide. But shout out your college team for me in the comment section below to put a bow on this video. Obviously, I've got my Tennessee Volunteers in my heart, but let me know what your college team is for this upcoming season. Who you think is going to go maybe all the way if you want to go that far, or just your favorite squad every single Saturday. And then, as always, I want to show some love to the Blue and Orange Club, sending in a $100 super chat during our watch parties. Slap yourself. I don't give a buck. I don't give a duck. That's Mrs. I don't give a buck. And then John E., a longtime legend of the channel. Thank you guys so much for going above and beyond to support us here at Chat Sports. If you want to get shout-outs for the entire 2024 season, hang out with us during our watch parties, a $100 super chat, and we'll add your name to the list. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed our video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all next time.